I'm Terry. Today I'm going to be doing an overview of the Notebook 14 features and tools. Notebook 14 is part of the Notebook Advantage subscription program. So now you can subscribe, a school can subscribe to Notebook Advantage, and that will include Notebook 14, which has some distinct new features and tools that are different from the previous versions. So these are the current new features and tools that are in Notebook 14. Okay? Right now, actually, the current version is Notebook 14.2. So I'll be going over math functionality by GeoGebra, XC collaboration, ink editing for math and language arts, Smart Connect, 3D tools, Response VE, and Smart Blocks. All right, so Math Ink. Math Ink is a math recognition pen. Access it here at the top menu. Gives me a grid. And this is where I can now write numbers or math equations, and it will read. Okay. So it'll turn my digital ink into text at the bottom, and if that's what I want, I can hit yes, check. And then it will give me my problem in a text object form. We have a new pen, a new art pen. It is the paintbrush. So the crayon was actually a Notebook 11 new tool. So your new art pen is the paintbrush, which came out in this current Notebook 14 version. So just to show you an example, I'm going to access the crayon just to show you what the crayon looks like. And this is the paintbrush. So it's in the pen tools a little bit further down. Okay. So it just gives you a paintbrush stroke. Next we have our text pen, which allows us to do ink editing at our smartboard. In the pen tool, right in the middle, there's the text pen. Okay. And what I can do is I can write a simple sentence. Right. Then the software will read my sentence and turn it into a text object for me. Okay. And then from here, I can edit just with my text pen and not have to bring out my digital keyboard. Okay, so to replace text, I would circle a word or letter. Okay. It'll bring out a window, and then I will write the word I want to replace it with. Okay. If I need to edit that, if I need to delete it, I can delete text with a line through it. Okay. To insert text, I can use a caret stroke. There we go. Okay. And then to insert a space, I just draw a vertical line where I want my space to be. Right. And that is the text pen. Allows you to do ink editing at the board. So now I'm going to go into the math tool that's powered by GeoGebra. So GeoGebra is a third-party education company that's partnered with Smart to add a math component into Notebook 14. And that's found here in the Add-ons tab. Okay. Here is the icon. You actually have two kinds of tools to access in Math GeoGebra. I'm going to bring out the GeoGebra widget first. And the GeoGebra widget is a quadrant. What I can do on this quadrant is I can write a math equation. I'm going to grab my regular pen. Right. And then I'm going to bring it down. There's an input box near the bottom of this grid. There we go. And the GeoGebra quadrant will automatically graph my equation. Okay. So what I can do here is choose another color, and maybe I can write another equation to compare. Bring this down into the input box. And then it'll graph it again. And it keeps the colors consistent. So here on the left, you can see the equation, and then on the quadrant, you can see the line graphed. Okay. Something else that this widget will do is it will change my equation in real time. So if I were to move my line on the quadrant, it changes the equation on the left. Another feature of the GeoGebra math tool is that we have a library of over 55,000 templates that are already made that we can access and use in our notebook lessons. Okay? So there's a search box here. I am going to go ahead and search for equivalent fractions. Now that it's searching, it will populate all of the equivalent fraction templates that it has. Right. So I'm going to show you a couple. There is a number line. You just tap on the template that you want to bring out on your page. Okay. And what these templates are, there are math activities that are more exploratory type manipulatives that you can use in your instruction. So here I have 1/2, and that's showing on top of the number line in red. I can manipulate my fraction. This is a nice way that I can show comparisons between different fractions, 3/8 and 2/4. So again here, most of these templates will have dials that you move and manipulate the activity. Another one that I found in equivalent fractions as an example is a comparison of fraction bars. So here what I can do is the fraction tiles are at the top, and then I can drag and drop to build one whole. Right. And then I can do comparisons of, say, 1/2, how many 1/2s make a whole. And then I can even do comparisons with the smaller fraction tiles. Okay? I can even overlay on top. Right? So this is an example of GeoGebra activities. Again, they're more discovery or exploratory type activities for math. Then another math tool that we have is called Smart Blocks. So Smart Blocks is in the same add-ons tab here. And what this allows you to do is incorporate dynamic and interactive manipulatives in your instruction involving the basic math operations. So you'll have a block for addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. You have power blocks, square roots, and there's even a mystery block. So as an example here, what I'm going to do is bring out an addition block. And this, the Smart Blocks, works in conjunction with digital ink as well. So if I were to write a number, it populates in the block. And then it'll give me the answer. Okay? You can also mix and match different blocks. So I'm going to go ahead and bring a subtraction block in. Okay? And if I wanted to use, say in a multiple step word problem, I wanted to use that 13 in a subtraction problem, I could just use my digital ink and it populates in the subtraction block. Okay? So it's a nice way to model with a visual the different steps that you would have to take in a multiple step word problem. Okay. You can also do fractions won't work, but you can do decimals as well. Okay. So I can put in a decimal number, and that will read in the Smart Block. Your mystery block here is the last Smart Block in your menu. And what you can do here is you're going to input 2 numbers. and then it's going to provide you with an answer, and the students have to have a discussion to figure out what operation is being used. Right? That's the mystery block. Something else we can do with Smart Blocks is use objects as well in our instruction with the blocks. So I'm going to bring out 2 stars here and 3 stars. I'm going to group them together. Okay. Then I will bring out a multiplication block. And it will read. It will read the number of objects that I've grouped together to input into the Smart Block. Okay. But that was a nice way to show, when you have students who don't quite grasp the concept of the numeral yet, we can use objects to help us. We have some specific 3D functionality with our 3D objects in the notebook software. So what I can do here is I can rotate, of course, my object, and I can rotate it on one axis if I need to. Okay. But what I can do here that makes it unique to Notebook 14 is, let me make it a little bit bigger. I can add labels to my objects. Okay. So if I do a right click on any part of my 3D object, I'm going to get a specific menu, and here in the middle I can add a label. Okay. Right. So here what I can do in my instruction is I can have students come up, and we'll have different parts of the crab. And they can identify the different parts by dragging and dropping into the label. Okay. I can also, as a teacher, I can also have this done ahead of time, and I can use this feature as a hide and reveal. Okay. So what I can do is I'm going to press this circle here. There's a little circle that gets generated when I create a label on my 3D object, but if I press that circle, I hide my label. Okay. So in this case, again, if I did this ahead of time, and then I'm going to show this with my students, I can already have the labels embedded in the 3D object and then reveal it when I need to. Okay. All right. And that is our latest feature with Notebook 14 3D objects, to be able to embed labels into our objects. So now I want to cover and review the 2 features that we have in Notebook 14 that incorporate mobile device use, where students can use laptops, iPads, tablets, Chromebooks, anything that hooks up, that can go hook up to the Wi-Fi and they have a browser. They're able to connect to a teacher's question on the smartboard, and we can be able to see their responses come onto the smartboard and see their answers in real time. Right? So the first one is called Notebook XC, or XC Collaboration. And what this does is, again, it gives every student a voice because they're using their devices to contribute and share answers that will be populated on the smartboard. Okay? And for a teacher, what I like about it is that all of their responses become text objects on the smartboard that I or the students can manipulate. Okay? So I'm going to show you an example. Okay. There is no download on the student devices. So as long as the students can either use a QR reader on their tablet or iPad, and they can scan a QR code to connect with the teacher's question, or they just need to open up a browser and go to www.sendtonb.com, which stands for Send to Notebook. Right? Then they will punch in and enter in an 8-digit number that gets generated to connect with the question. So I'm going to go ahead and start a question with XC Collaboration. And you'll see how student responses can get populated onto the board. So I have a Venn diagram of soccer and baseball, and we're going to compare the two sports. So as you can see, I have some responses coming in. So this particular activity is called, the type of activity is random position, where the answers kind of fly all over the page, and then I can have a student come up and sort onto the Venn diagram. Okay. So again, these text objects were all responses by students, and now I can look and see what they are and put them in the proper place on the Venn diagram. All right, so this XC collaboration is a really nice way, again, to have 100% engagement in your class, and you're able to have those formative checks throughout your lesson to see, are the students getting it? You can, as you ask your questions, to modify your lesson, okay, in your guided instruction. Next, we have Response VE. So Response VE is the second feature or tool that we have that incorporates student device use in answering questions and or cumulative or summative assessments. Right? It is cloud-based software, so just like XC Collaboration, the students will connect to a teacher's assessment or question via Wi-Fi, via an internet browser. So the website that the students would use on their device is response.smarttech.com. And Response VE will generate a 6-digit number that students will input to connect to a question. So here, I'm going to go ahead and start this question. I have a math question here. Then a window will come up to prompt students to go to response.smarttech.com. And there is the 6-digit assessment ID that they would enter in to connect with the question. There's a nice feature with Response VE that you don't get with XC Collaboration, is that this entire image of this question gets sent to the student devices as well. So when they connect to the question on their device, on their computer, on their tablet or iPad, they will see this question and know how to answer it as well. Okay. So we were talking about XC Collaboration being a nice formative assessment tool. Response VE can also do formative assessment, but also summative assessments where students can actually take self-paced assessments in their own time, and then it gets graded and scored, where a teacher can review the results in the gradebook component. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this question. I see that some of my students have answered. I can even see a preview of the answers that have come in real time. So I've stopped the question, and then what happens is I will get results populated here in the side tab. And then I can show data for my class as well in the details. And again, also Response VE has gradebook functionality, where a teacher can store and house longitudinal data to track student progress, okay, in the gradebook. There are 2 extra features that we can utilize with Response VE and the mobile devices. They are called response widgets. The first widget that I want to show you is called a word cloud. So I have a question prompted for my students. What words come to mind when you think about summer? And I'm going to go ahead and start the word cloud. The word cloud again works with Response VE. So that same 6-digit number that the students had input to connect to my first Response VE question will work throughout the lesson when I'm using the word cloud as well. Okay. So what happens is, as students are texting their contributions and their input and sending it, it's going to be populated on the word cloud. Okay. So I can see that some students they think about beach during the summer, okay? Surfing, vacation. Okay. And what you're going to see is a nice feature with word cloud is when identical answers come in from the students, you'll see the word will grow. Right. And they are still text objects, so I can manipulate them on the board. We can see that multiple students must have inputted vacation because I see vacation is growing bigger and bigger. So as a formative check in the classroom, this is nice because I can ask a question to my students, and if I see the correct answer growing and getting bigger, I can see that my students have got that topic or that skill. I can move on. The next response widget is called a concept mapping widget. And what I have to do here is I have to drag an object into the concept mapping area to start a question. Okay. It can be an image, it can be a picture, digital ink. Okay. I'm just going to bring down this text object, summer vacation. Okay. So it populates on my concept map area, and I can now start my response widget. This one is called the concept mapping. So it works very similar to the word cloud, where student responses will get generated on the concept map. If identical answers are coming in, the word will grow. So now that I have summer vacation here in my concept mapping area, I can start my question. What are some of your plans, or what are some things that you do over summer vacation? That was a quick overview of the Notebook 14 features and tools. If you are interested, you or your school, in training and or a demo, please feel free to contact me anytime at the Audiovisual Company.